Here's something strange that happened last year. After brain rot became the phrase half the internet was using about itself, after studies covering nearly 100,000 people started stacking up, one of the scientists Oxford itself leans on looked at the whole pile and said, "Finally, there's no real evidence that brain rot is actually a thing." Now hold on, because we've all felt something since the onset of social media era. Our focus isn't what it used to be. Books are boring to read compared to a scroll session. Cinematic films feel slow. Your hand is reaching out for the second screen before the first scene is over. I'm not going to sit here and claim that's imaginary. It isn't. Something real is happening to our attention. But that scientist put his finger on something almost everyone has missed. The thing you're feeling is real. The word we associated it with is a lie. And there is one move that would actually fix it. I've spent a while now reading the actual research under those brain rot headlines, and just as long noticing how much harder it's gotten to hold my own attention on one thing. So I'm not coming at this as someone who is above it. I'm in it too, and to be clear, I'm not arguing the problem away. Something real is happening to our attention. There's even a kind of scrolling that's all cost and no payoff. That doesn't feel good while it's happening, and that trap is real. I just think rot names it wrong. And naming it wrong is the part of what's keeping us stuck. Here's what you'll have if you stick until the end. First, why brain rot is the wrong word and what the science actually found, which is not what the headlines told you. Second, who benefits from you believing your brain is the thing that's broken? And third, what to do instead, because it isn't a detox and it's smaller and more durable than that. 3 pieces: the bad diagnosis, the real one, and the one rep that answers it. Let's start with the word itself, because the word is doing more work than you think. Brain rot didn't come from nowhere. It went mainstream because it named something real. You feel it. You open a book and your eyes slide off the page. A film that would have gripped you 5 years ago now feels slow, and your hand is reaching out for a second screen before the first scene is over. You walk into a room and forget why. None of that is imagined. And this isn't only a feeling, it shows up in the data. A researcher named Gloria Mark at UC Irvine has been timing how long people hold their attention on a single screen since 2004. Back then, the average was about 2.5 minutes. Today, it's around 47 seconds. That's roughly 2 decades of steady decline, and it doesn't stop at teenagers. The same downward slide shows up across age groups, in our parents as much as in us. So something measurable really has changed. And the numbers track the worry. By 2025, more than half of the people are saying they actively want to spend less time on their phones, up by about 1/3 in just 2 years. So this isn't a unique hidden problem. A lot of people quietly feel that something has gone wrong with their own minds, and they started looking for a word for it. Brain rot was just waiting right there at the right time. So here's the story almost everyone tells, and I want to tell it fairly because parts of it are true. The story goes, the feeds are frying you. Every short video is a little hit, your focus is getting shredded, your brain is literally degrading from the inside. The fix, naturally, is to cut it out. Digital detox, dopamine detox, a clean weekend, delete the apps and let your brain heal. And there's real research that seems to back the worry. That pile I mentioned, that's a review in Psychological Bulletin that pulled together 71 separate studies. Heavy short-form video use lined up with weaker attention and weaker impulse control. Other reviews found similar patterns: shorter focus, worse memory, and lower grades. So if you stopped here, the brain rot story looks airtight. Your phone is hurting your focus. The studies agree. Therefore, your brain is rotting. Therefore, quit. Clean logic. I bought it myself for a while. And for a while, I couldn't figure out why every detox I tried fell apart by Tuesday. But there's a crack in the middle of the story. And once I saw the crack, I couldn't unsee it. Here's the crack. Those studies found associations. Heavy use of short-form content tends to go with worse attention. That is a real and serious finding, and I'm not waving it away. But association is not the same as rot. Rot is a specific claim. It says the tissue is decaying. The damage is yours and it's mostly one way. The studies don't show that. Most of them are snapshots moment in time, not people followed for years. They can't tell you what's permanent and what isn't. And the scientists themselves are careful here, even when the headlines aren't. The researcher I mentioned before, Andrew Przybyłski, actually said that there is no evidence of brain rot being a literal physical thing. Not that nothing's wrong, that the rotting part is the part nobody can show. Others who do take the harm seriously still land on a different word than rot. They land on balance. They say the damage, whatever its size, looks more like something you're doing than something that's been done to your tissue. Let's go deeper, to the other side. Your attention didn't wander off on its own. It's the most valuable thing you own. And there is an entire industry. Some of the smartest engineers of our generation paid enormous amounts of money, whose only job is to take it. Not to entertain you, to hold you. Holding you and entertaining you are not the same thing, and they know the difference better than you do. Every autoplay, every infinite feed, every little red dot was tested against thousands of alternatives and kept because it won. And winning for the algorithm means you stayed when you were meant to leave. So your scattered attention isn't a bug in your brain. It's the product working exactly as designed. Here's the paradox. We think we are the consumers of social media. We are not. Our attention is the product, and the algorithm is the thing that's doing the consuming of our attention. When you can't focus, the machine is not failing. It's succeeding. That's the part the word rot hides. Rot says the decay is happening inside you on its own. The truth is, someone is holding you up at your door, walking off with your focus and convincing you that the empty rooms are your own moral failing. And here's what I keep coming back to. This isn't rot. It's robbery. And those are very different situations. Because rot, you can only mourn about. A robbery, you can respond to. You can act and get back what was yours. And there's a deeper reason. Rot is the wrong word. One that should actually give you hope. Rot is one way. It's degradation with no recovery. Picture an apple going soft on the counter, or a strawberry turning white in the fridge. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can't bring it back. But your brain is not a piece of fruit. Your brain is neuroplastic. It physically rewires itself around whatever you practice, and it keeps doing that your whole life. This isn't wishful thinking. There is research following people well into their 70s that still finds the brain forming new circuits and adapting to new skills. The hardware for change doesn't expire. So the honest comparison isn't fruit. It's muscle. Attention behaves like a muscle. The circuits you use get stronger. The ones you starve get weaker. The same way an elite athlete trains one muscle for one movement. A javelin thrower's shoulder, a cyclist's glutes. That's not a metaphor I'm reaching for. It's roughly how the brain allocates itself. It's roughly how the brain allocates attention. It gives more to what you practice, which means the feeds didn't rot your focus. They trained it. They gave you thousands of reps a day at switching, skimming, bailing the second something gets slow or boring. You got very, very strong at exactly the wrong movement. Your attention isn't broken. It's superbly conditioned for a game you never chose to play. And if attention was trained, it can be retrained. That's the whole turn. You don't need to heal a rotting organ. You need to start lifting with purpose and the right technique. This is also why the detox doesn't work and why it was never going to. A detox treats attention like a toxin to flush out of your system. But attention isn't a poison you purge. It's the capacity you build. You can't flush your way to focus any more than you can rest your way to a stronger back. You quit for a clean weekend, you feel briefly virtuous, and on Monday you walk back into the same gym that's training you in the wrong direction. And nothing has actually changed because you never did a single rep of the thing you actually wanted to get good at. The skill you're missing isn't abstinence. It's the ability to hold one thing on purpose while it's boring without bailing. The capacity is trainable at any age, not by deleting your life, by practicing the opposite movement. deliberately, in small doses, until the muscle that the feeds let go slack starts to come back. And underneath all of this is the one muscle that feeds quietly took from you, your choice. The algorithm decides where your attention goes by default, 1,000 tiny times a day, and every time it decides, you didn't. So the whole retraining starts the moment you take that decision back. When you choose, on purpose, where to put your attention instead of letting the feed choose it for you. That act of choosing is the rep itself. So the move isn't to use your phone less exactly. It's to use your attention more, on purpose, at least once a day. Let me make that concrete. Here's the whole practice. One long thing every day. Once a day, you pick one thing and you give it your whole undivided attention for a real stretch of time. No second screen. Read a chapter, cook a new recipe, take a shower with no music, watch the film, the whole film like it's the only thing happening. Sit when you go out for a walk with nothing in your ears and let yourself get bored. Start absurdly small if you need to. 10 minutes. The length matters less than the quality, which is one thing, fully, while part of you wants to bail. That wanting to bail is the whole point. That's the rep. The second you feel that craving to check, to switch, to add a second input, and you stay anyway. Because that is the exact instant the muscle works. Not when it's easy, when it's boring and you stay. Two things make it stick. First, choose it in advance, the night before or the morning of. So it's a decision and not a thing that you hope happens. Second, make it visible. A book left open, the walk scheduled in your calendar, the film queued up. So when the pull comes, the better thing is already sitting right there, asking for the same 10 minutes the Instagram scrolling feed wants. That's it. One long thing every day, chosen, on purpose, held while it's boring. Do that and you're not detoxing anything. You're training the precise muscle a billion-dollar industry has spent years letting go soft. A while back, I made a video about how your attention is the material a whole life gets built from, and how a handful of very clever people have gotten rich, quietly harvesting it. This is the missing half of that picture. They can only harvest what you don't guard, and you guard it not by going to war with your phone you actually love and need, but by quietly, daily, taking back one stretch of your own mind and spending it on something you chose. Because here's what the word rot can never tell you. Rot is final. It's something you watch happen and grieve, but you're not a log in the rain. Your attention isn't decaying. It was trained away from you, one swipe at a time, and the same way, one rep at a time, you can train it to come back home. You don't have brain rot. You have attention treasure worth stealing. The only question left is who gets to spend it. So try it tomorrow. One long thing, your whole self, 10 honest minutes, then tell me down below in the comment section what you chose and how long you lost it before the pull hit. I really want to know. If this reframed anything for you, subscribe and I'll catch you next week. Bye for now.